Hello everybody and welcome back to Screen Stars. Well, we are almost at 6 months into the year, half the year almost gone. So I thought I would do a top 5 list of my favourite films so far of the year, what I consider to be the worst films of the year so far, and my top 5 most disappointing movies of the year so far. So this is my halfway point checklist, if you like. As always with these lists, this is subjective, and I did find it quite difficult with the best ones. So there's a couple of mentions for films that just didn't quite make it into the top 5, but I thought were excellent, and they deserve a mention. So there you go, guys. My top 5 best, worst and most disappointing movies so far in 2018. So I do hope you enjoy it. And we will start with my top 5 most disappointing movies of the year. And coming in at number 5 is Pacific Rim Uprising. I don't think this is a bad film, but I was deeply looking forward to watching this film. And my brother kept telling me that the trailers look rubbish and I wouldn't listen because I was so looking forward to it. And I have to say, guys, I was disappointed with this movie, and the more I think about this movie, the more disappointed I feel about it. So it has to make my list, unfortunately. At number 4, Death Wish. Not that I expected this to be brilliant. I hoped it was going to be very good, but unfortunately it just turned out to be very middle of the road. Not a bad film, certainly watchable. The best Bruce Willis performance for a good 2 or 3 years, but that's not saying much because it's still not a brilliant one. It's just, I can't really recommend it, guys. It's just a bit dull, this movie. Bit disappointing. Mute. This was released in February on Netflix, and a very dull, humdrum science fiction movie from the guy it brought us Moon, Duncan Jones. I thought Alexander Skarsgård was pretty good in it as a guy who plays a mute who's basically just spending the whole film looking for his girlfriend. It's just not a lot happens in it, guys. It's just pretty boring, and it's certainly one to avoid. But again, it's not a really bad film. Number 2, The Titan. Now, I was really looking forward to this. It had Sam Worthington in it. It's another Netflix film. The trailer I thought looked really interesting. But I've got to say, guys, I found this incredibly boring. Nothing happens in this science fiction movie until the last 15 minutes. And even that's not particularly special. Definitely, I would say, guys, this is one to avoid because this is not going to particularly interest you if you haven't seen it. And it certainly didn't interest me. I was very disappointed. And my number 1 most disappointing movie, Downsizing. I just thought it was really pretty bad, this, guys. It wasn't funny. It was just another excuse for the right on people in Hollywood to tell us how terrible we all are at destroying planet Earth, shoving messages in the movie, and for a comedy movie it's just not that funny. It's just not very good, guys. I didn't like it. I was very disappointed. My top 5 worst films. Well, coming in at number 5, I've just recently reviewed this, guys, Truth or Dare. I don't think it's just as bad as I expected. I don't think it's just as bad as everybody's saying. But believe you me, guys, it's bad. One of the worst written movies I've seen in a long time. And as long as you are incredibly stupid and you don't mind the film telling you that you're stupid, you might have some fun with this movie. But for me, guys, I just thought it was pretty damn terrible. Number 4, Selfie from Hell. A film that was released in February that nobody seems to know about. And I just thought it was a really badly written horror movie that wasn't scary, crammed full of all the horror tropes you could ever imagine. Again, a bit like Selfie from Hell, it treats you like an imbecile when it comes to technology. And definitely one to avoid, guys. Not very good, this movie. Number 3, The Open House, another Netflix movie. They're not having a great year so far, Netflix. I just thought this was awful, an awful movie. It's a thriller with no tension. The story is imbecilic, and the ending, well, I think arguably one of the worst endings I've ever seen in a movie. The payoff at the end is like getting a slap in the face. definitely awful. Number 2, Party Bus to Hell. You can't give this film too bad a hard time because it's a B movie, but it's a B movie that almost becomes a Z movie. It's just so bad, guys. The effects are bad, the costumes are bad, the acting's bad. It's borderline so bad it's good movie. Only borderline, but it has to be on this list because it's just a terrible, terrible movie. And at number 1, oh, what a turd of a movie this was. The Revenge of Robert. Guys, you have to avoid this movie. I bought it from Asda. Because I can't give you a reason why I bought it from Asda, but I did. And it was one of the worst film purchases I've ever made. Shockingly bad. Terrible effects. Arguably one of the worst films I've ever seen, guys. You cannot watch this movie. So, special mention for my best movies. Last Flag Flying. It didn't quite crack the top 5, but please, guys, I implore you, if you want to watch a wonderfully crafted, superbly acted comedy drama, I really urge you guys to watch Last Flag Flying. It's funny, it's emotional, it's engaging, and I absolutely thoroughly enjoyed this movie. It is such a great movie, guys. Please give it a go. And Darkest Hour. Now, this was released last year in the US, but it was released in the cinemas in this country, in the UK, in January, so that's why it's on my list. Wonderful movie. I don't need to say an awful lot about this movie. It's got a great reputation. Gary Oldman got the Oscar that is so fully deserved, and this is a truly, truly wonderful film. And I absolutely thoroughly enjoyed watching it, guys. So again, watch it if you haven't. Coming in at number 5, A Quiet Place. Another superbly crafted theatrical horror release. We are being treated so well with a lot of horror movies these days, and this was so wonderfully written that it's just such a clever idea. And if you haven't seen A Quiet Place, you must have heard the buzz that it's getting. You must go and see it, guys. I can't see how anybody could be disappointed watching this movie. Wonderful film. Number 4, You Were Never Really Here. I was blown away by this movie, guys. I can't tell you how much I was blown away by this movie. It's not for everybody, but the performance by Joaquin Phoenix in this movie is something else. It really is spectacular, as is this movie. He plays a hitman that basically is trying to get this kid back from these abductors. Stunning movie. A real amazing movie, guys. Number 3, Black Panther. One of the most hyped movies in recent memory. Deservedly blew the box office away. Highly entertaining. Had a great time at the cinema with this movie. I don't think it's just as perfect as everybody at the time was making out. I think there are a couple of minor flaws with the movie. Very minor flaws with the movie. But overall, it's a fantastic addition to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Number 2, Ready Player One. Wow, I had a blast at the cinema with this movie, guys. One of the best cinema experiences I've had in recent years. Wonderful feel-good movie by Steven Spielberg. It really genuinely made me feel like a kid in the cinema screen again, guys. It was wonderful. I got pretty much all the references from the 80s. Everything in this movie made sense to me. Absolutely love this movie. I know there's some people complain about it, but I love it. And number 1, it can only be Avengers Infinity War. Staggeringly good. I can't really heap much more praise on this movie. It's almost perfect. There are a couple of tiny flaws in this movie, very tiny, but for me, a stunning Marvel movie. And if I had to choose my favourite Marvel movie, certainly right now, this would be right at the top of the pile. So thanks for watching, guys. So there you go, guys. That is my list. My top 5 most disappointing movies, my top 5 worst movies so far of the year, and my top 5 favourite movies so far in 2018. I think we've had an outstanding year of movies this year. I could have easily done a top 10 list of all of them. Disappointing, worst and best so far. But I thought I would keep it down to 5, and then I will do my top 10 list at the end of the year for the same top 10 worst, most disappointing and favourite movies of the year. So thanks for watching, guys. Please leave me some comments, let me know what your favourite are in each of these categories, and please don't forget to subscribe if this is your first time visiting Screen Stars. Thanks for watching, everybody.